So what if it was as easy as just taking herbs to get your health and your energy back, to get your youth back? What if it was that easy to get your vitality back? It seems almost too good to be true. But what if you didn't have to do all these weird other drugs that people are taking to get back their energy? People are desperate running around. We're going to the pool to do some yoga. They're desperate running around trying to get back their beauty. Think of all the people who are spending all kinds of money just to get back their energy. What are people doing? They're taking caffeine, they're taking drugs, they're taking speed. People don't know how to naturally heal. People don't know how to naturally lose weight. What are people doing to lose weight nowadays? That's a circus in itself. I mean, think about that for a second. They're doing a million different things to try to lose weight. They don't know anything about detoxing or their hormones or their organs or their nervous system. All kinds of scams are out there nowadays in the world. And people don't know about these ancient Indian secrets. People don't know about how to actually cleanse their system so that their body works better. Before I learned about yoga, before I went to the ashram, started learning all these secrets that are in Indian medicine, I was doing all the supplements. I was doing all the weird CrossFit workouts. I was thinking that just by taking some kind of whey protein, that it was going to instantly help me. I didn't know how to take care of my skin. I was using benzoyl peroxide and all this stuff. It doesn't work. It's made not to work, so you keep on buying the product. It's a scam. So I spent a lot of my time just being frustrated, doing the wrong stuff. Just trying to slam my body with more and more workouts, paying attention to just like my protein and macro intake, not understanding I'm gaining fat because my hormones are toxic. My organs are toxic. My nervous system is jacked up. I'm not absorbing these nutrients correctly into my body. Because Americans don't teach what the Indians teach. That a man is only as strong as his digestion. And so you gotta clean that GI tract, is what they teach. And so that's the wisdom. That's the wisdom behind the detox. But nowadays, you see people taking all these drugs because they're having digestive issues, all the laxatives, people are getting sinus issues, taking drugs for that, inflammation, taking drugs for that, taking Advil and these pain medications. And everybody knows that that's horrible. But what's the alternative, guys? We haven't been taught the alternative. So people don't know. And so it's not your fault if you don't know. The school didn't teach us, the government didn't teach us. And so it's up to us to tell each other what worked. I started doing this stuff and this stuff works. These detoxes, they work. So I'm gonna do my yoga right now, and then we'll get back and we'll take more herbs. we are getting our herbs in because we're answering the question today, how to get back our vitality when we're dealing with burnout, weird digestion, weird energy, and aches and pains. And I just want to show you my herbal regime. And it's going to be part of the detox program, the 7-day cleanse. And it's really as easy as just taking the herbs, guys. So if you just take these herbs morning, afternoon, and night, you're going to see a huge difference in your energy, huge difference in your weight loss, huge difference in your skin. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I've experimented with this for over 12 years, and this is coming from the most genius Indian medicine practitioners in the world, like Vasant Lad. You know, so what happened was, in my late 20s, I was dealing with all of those problems, the weight gain, the burnout, and the joint problems. And what happened was, nothing that I was trying was helping. And it was so frustrating because I really loved doing massage, but I couldn't really do it that much. And so it was all getting worse and worse and worse. You know how it is. The joint pains, the lack of sleep. And I was even getting digestive issues. I was gaining weight. I would just come home and I would just watch Game of Thrones and I would veg out again and again and again. I would eat bad snacks between clients and I would overeat. It's like I had the munchies. By the way, this is what I start every morning with nowadays. I learned this from Sadhguru and Vasant Lad. You mix turmeric, just half a teaspoon with half a teaspoon of neem, and this completely detoxes your entire system. This is amazing. This kills parasites, this kills viruses, bacteria, pathogens, mold. And so you drink this in the morning, and this is great for stimulating the energy of inspiration to go to your brain. It really energizes all your cells. They call it ojas, which, think of it kind of like the Pac-Man bullet. You eat that Pac-Man bullet, and then all of a sudden you have like this ojas. It's like the fuel that Pac-Man gets. So this is the first thing that we drink in the morning before we go on a little walk. We're gonna go on a little walk to the park. We're gonna do a little bit of hatha yoga. We're gonna come back and have our second session of herbs. And then we have our afternoon session of herbs, and then we have our nighttime session of herbs. And all of these are gonna completely stimulate the system. And this is what I learned, because, going back to what happened when I was burning out, I started getting into yoga and hatha yoga and everything that this mystic Sadhguru was talking about. And I was so in love, I was enthralled with his message. I was so captivated, I was so romanced by him. And he started talking about Ayurvedic and Siddha medicine, which is like the medicine of the yogis. And it started to help me to a certain degree. I started taking some of his courses and programs. My energy was getting better and better. I started having a little bit more enthusiasm, a little bit more inspiration in life. I wasn't as burnt out. And all these little things were helping me so much that I kept on doubling down on it. You double down on what works. And it got to the point where I just wanted to go and be at his ashram in India. And so I went. I packed up all my stuff. I sold tons of my stuff. I was ready to go and stay there. I really wanted to live there. And everyone thought, I was crazy, but like, you're leaving behind like such a good business. You have all these clients, you're making tons of money. But I knew deep down on the inside, I was isolating, I was lonely, I was getting fat. I wasn't really enjoying my interior. I knew that I needed this. I knew I needed this pilgrimage. I knew I needed to change something big about my health. So I went. And while I was over there, I had a great time. Everything was different. Different animals, different food, different people from all over the world. There's 800 people in this program, and 1,000 plus people in the ashram. And so there's temples everywhere, and we were in this one ashram, probably like 50 to 100 acres, just huge. And I was having a really profound experiences and meeting all these people and working different jobs. I was pulling weeds in the farm. I was in the kitchen for 10 hours a day. And the experience was so surreal. It was so weird being over there, sleeping under just this building, this canopy with like hundreds of other guys. And I felt good when I was there. Like my whole mission was develop myself spiritually, but also physically, to be more resilient. And I'd say it worked until I'd say like 90 days in. I started to feel weak and strange, and one night I couldn't even eat dinner. I was just sitting there. I just felt like nauseous, and I had to go outside, and I just sat down, and they had to rush me over to the clinic because I felt like that I was gonna pass out. And comes down to the doctor seeing me. He gives me antacids, and I just go back to the sleeping quarters. I can't sleep that whole night. I'm puking, I'm pooping. I think that maybe I have like some kind of bug. And that night I actually have to sneak into my backpack and take my antibiotic because I'm just in misery. Like, I am just beyond miserable. And so I take an antibiotic and I start slowly feeling like I'm not gonna die. Like, I was dehydrating, guys. I had diarrhea. It was the worst. I actually told my friend, like, hey, make sure that I wake up in the morning. If I don't, like, call the hospital or do something. Like, 911 isn't even a thing over there, but just like do something, like just save me. And so I had to be socially isolated for another 2 weeks after that because they thought I had like COVID or something, but I didn't have COVID. And anyways, it was miserable. It was horrible. I was so depressed, all the way over in India, and I came there for this. So I told him I have to come back home. I come back home, and by that time I realized it was the water that was getting to me. And so, I should have been boiling all the water, even though they had like filters and nobody else there was like having to boil the water. By the way, you can put a little bit of honey in this. Half a teaspoon of honey makes it taste great. So I come home and all the doctors do the same thing. They're just like, you just need antacids. But from there I realized, this is not smart. I really gotta like take my health into my own hands. And I was still like always tired, weak digestion, low enthusiasm, always tired and fatigued. It just feels horrible not to have like your energy and your vigor for life, not to have your vitality. And so I had to learn about detoxing. I had to learn about cleaning my gut. That's what happens when we get bacteria and viruses and mold in our gut. We don't even realize what's living in our microbiome because we're eating all this garbage food, and we're eating all this meat products and all this very highly processed dairy, and eventually we get bogged down with all these preservatives. It's kind of like New York City getting invaded by all these gangsters and villains and prisoners. They cost the city a lot of money, and they're breaking mailboxes, and they're terrorizing schools, and they're stealing. That's what all these bacteria and toxins are doing in your body. And so I learned from Dr. William Davis, after I read his book Wheat Belly and Super Gut, how to actually cleanse, how to detox, how to cleanse. And so I started doing his avoiding toxin routine, and I started doing his bacterial routine. And I learned all the different herbs that are so profoundly powerful in completely cleaning your system, so that you can go back and do the probiotics. Like, everybody loves a little bit of their kombucha, everybody loves a little bit of their kefir, their yogurts, everybody loves their sauerkraut and their pickles and their kimchis. But until you actually get rid of the bad bacteria and stop dumping these toxins into your body, it's kind of like you have farmland that just has all these rocks and thorns and stones, and you can't plant there before you plow. So he teaches you how to plow, and then you start planting. So this is the plowing. All these herbs that we're doing, this is the plowing before you start planting the probiotics. And you know what else is the plowing? Is fasting. When you fast, it's like you're plowing that dirt. You're getting rid of all these bad bugs and all these parasites that are preventing you from actually having the probiotics. They call your gut your second brain, because trillions of little bacteria live in your gut, and they influence your brain with powerful chemicals, kind of like psychological chemicals that you take when you take antipsychotics and antidepressant drugs. So there's good guys in there too. So you have the good guys, like the superheroes, and then you have the bad guys that are like the supervillains. And so what you want is more superheroes in there, so that they're promoting all the good businesses in the schools, and they're fixing stuff, and they're taking all those gangsters and supervillains and the mafia, and they're completely just teleporting them away to like a whole different universe, right? They're just killing them, right? They're even taking the prisoners and just killing them, like literally just killing them. Like, you don't have to deal with them anymore. Like, they're no longer straining the taxpayers at all. So that's the great thing about taking care of your gut, is that you have these superheroes, the probiotics, and you're just clearing all these bad guys. And so that's what I learned, is after I start doing the right things, avoiding the wrong foods and eating the right things, it starts with just detoxing. And detoxing brought me back to life. Detoxing gave me my energy back. It let me sleep better. It decreased the inflammation in my body. My joints weren't hurting. I had really bad neck pain. Neck and back pain and shoulder pain was what got me. And it would hurt even when I would like toss and turn in bed. I couldn't find like a comfortable position. Like, I had this whole escapade where I tried to buy like $100 pillows, and I was doing reviews on pillows. It wasn't the pillows, that I had to fix my neck. And to do that, I had to fix I had to detox. And so it all started clicking again. So, that's how I learned about fasting. That's how I learned about detoxing. That's how I learned about the power of the gut. And that's how I learned about the power of deep cleaning. You got like the toothbrush, but then you got like the heavy duty pressure cleaner, and getting in there with like the castor oil cleanse and the enemas and the basti. That's like the pressure cleaner, but even just taking a scrub brush and scrubbing, it's so helpful for your entire system, because it's like the nutrients in your body has to get on into the blood in order to actually help you. So what happens is, when you have too much toxins in your body, it's kind of like people in the subway station in New York City trying to get on the train, but there's a big wall blocking it, so they can't even get on the train to go to work. That's what the nutrients are trying to do. But when there's toxins, there's a big wall inside your gut, your large intestine. There's a big wall. There's a buildup of 5 to 20 pounds of toxic sludge in your intestine, in your GI tract, preventing the nutrients from getting into your blood. So they can't get into your blood, and they can't go to work to help you in your body. And so by taking these herbs, we're breaking down that wall so that all the nutrients can get into your blood and go to work and go do great things in your city, in your body. And so we need the superheroes to kill these supervillains. We need these super herbs to kill the supervillains in our body. And we need these herbs to scrub and break down that wall. We're gonna bring down that wall, the Berlin Wall, that was preventing immigration. That's what we need to do. And then you start feeling stronger, more beautiful, more alive. Your skin naturally just starts to glow more. And everything in your body starts to work better because now your organs are working better, your hormones are working better, and your nervous system is reset and calm and working better. And everything, all three of those things fall into line. Nervous system, hormones, and organs. Those are the three secret keys to health. You get those things right, a cascade of amazing, it's like you open the country to all these superheroes to come in. That's what happens when you get your nervous system and your hormones right, your organs right. So that's what happens. And so I just want to keep on showing all the different herbs and everything that we can show that will do those amazing processes in your body. So I'm gonna go do some yoga. Actually, I'm gonna bring you with me. Just gonna brush my teeth after this because you don't want to have turmeric teeth. And then I'll show you today all the herbs, the simple routine. This is part of the 7-day cleanse. Just as simple as eating all the right herbs. And once you're done with that, learn the intricacies of how to avoid all the toxins and change your diet. Then learn how to fast. Then learn about probiotics. All this is the same thing though. We're detoxing and we're taking care of the gut. And when you do that, miracles happen. That's why we call it the Monk MT Miracle Fasting Challenge, the Miracle Cleanse Challenge. This is all miraculous what happens when you change the right things that you need to change about your body, okay? So I'm excited. Today's Wednesday here in Miami, and it's gonna be a beautiful day. There's herbs that only the Russian scientists figured out during the 1990 Olympics, and they put millions of dollars into studying the top herbs that can actually help their athletes heal from stress, recover better, that they didn't want anybody else to know about. And so they ran over 200 different experiments to beat out all the other countries so that their athletes could be at their top. And so there's a book written on this called The Yoga of Herbs, and it talks about adaptogens, and I'm going to show you those today. I'm going to show you how to relax after a workout and how to recover after a workout. And I'm going to show you all the different herbs that you can use that are powerful to stimulate your hormones, to regulate your nervous system, and they're as easy as just taking a capsule. And when you incorporate this into your life every day, what it's going to do for you is what it did for me. You're going to sleep better. You're going to have way more energy. You're going to lose weight because your hormones are back on track. And everything is just going to feel like it's working because you're cleansing and you're empowering. And it's very, very easy to actually see what works. And so let's get cracking. Let's get into it. All right, I'm going to show you all my favorite herbs, especially after a workout, how to heal from burnout, and that make you feel amazing, that you have amazing energy. It's going to help you feel at your best. I just chew these things. So this is what's really going to help fix your nervous system and your hormones so that you feel like you have that youthful energy again. And so that your digestion resets and that you beat burnout. We're always asking that question, how do you get back that vitality? And so I'm going to show you the magic of herbs. It's delicious. Even just chewing it. I got this from Walmart. Even Walmart herbs like maca. It's great. If you haven't tried maca and all these herbs I'm about to show you are so amazing because they help regulate your hormones. And most people don't understand the power of hormones. So hormones, they're pretty much like superheroes in your body. And so the whole thing with hormones is that you can be doing all the things right in terms of calories and macronutrients and steps. If your hormones are wrong, then it doesn't matter. You're gonna feel worn down. Same thing with your sleep. So I had a lot of sleep issues in my life. And for so long, I would just wake up so many times during the night. I hated it so much because I would always wake up, and if you're even just a little bit tired, it makes the day like 50% harder, sometimes like 2 times harder, just from being a little bit tired. And so I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't really know what to do about it. I tried a lot of little tips, but until I understood the power of the hormonal system, the melatonin, how to influence the cortisol and the melatonin systems, then you can't really force going to sleep. It's kind of like, good luck. Like, how are you gonna force going to sleep? So I had to understand how to influence my hormones and my melatonin production. And this is something that definitely helped. You know, everybody talks about the number one thing is definitely your light exposure. So you take care of that because that's melatonin. But then you have to think about stress and cortisol. So how do you wind down? That's where adaptogens come in. All these herbs that I'm about to show you. The adaptogens are amazing because they've been scientifically proven by the Soviets in the late 1900s during the Olympics. They ran dozens, I'm talking about hundreds of scientific experiments looking at the effects of these over 200 different adaptogenic herbs to see if it could reduce the stress on their Olympic athletes. So, you know, they want their athletes to win because that means, you know, economic gain for their whole entire nation. So there's huge incentive for them to actually understand what herbs helped with immunity, injury, inflammation, testosterone. And so they studied all of these and they published them all. And there's actually an excellent book called The Yoga of Herbs. And it talks about all of them that they studied scientifically, the yoga of herbs. And so maca was one of them. And it tells you which of them has the most scientific evidence to regulate your hormones and your nervous system. So that's their technical definition of an adaptogen, is something that regulates the nervous system and the hormonal system back to where it should be. So if it's too low, it brings it back to where it should be. If it's too high, it brings it back to where it should be. So that's the amazing intelligence of an adaptogen. And so that's where I got very interested in understanding adaptogens. And as I incorporated the adaptogens into my daily routine, I found that it helped with my sleep. It's amazing. So my favorite sleep tonic, I'll show you guys. It's ashwagandha plus magnesium. You know, that's really, really scientifically studied out. So you got your ashwagandha, decreases stress and cortisol. Magnesium, I take magnesium glycinate. This is like 14 bucks on Amazon, lasts me like 3 months. Magnesium glycinate. Andrew Huberman says glycinate, really, really good for sleep, great for the digestion. And then I put holy basil. See, this is the medicine cabinet. This is my favorite thing, having medicine cabinet, knowing your herbs. This is the real pharmacy. It's your medicine cabinet. It's your herb cabinet. So holy basil, these are all adaptogens. Ashwagandha, adaptogen. Holy basil, adaptogen. Decreases the cortisol, brings a healthy balance of your hormones in your nervous system by nourishing the organs. This is nervous system balance. And valerian root. This is what I use for sleep. All right. So I'm going to show you what I use for after a workout, but that's my sleep tonic. All of these are amazing. This is like, did you know that they actually take, to make a drug, they actually take the compounds of herbs and they isolate it and they concentrate it. So actually the herbs are the OGs of modern medicine. But everybody knows that it's better to get the cocktail with it than just the isolation. It's kind of like you get the complete person, or you can just get a few words of a person. No, you want the whole person. You take a few words, it's out of context. You can misinterpret, you can misunderstand. That's what your body does. If you take one particular bioflavonoid or very, very specific chemical out of the entire matrix, your body misunderstands it. You need everything in context. And that's what happens when you take herbs whole. You know, that's why drugs, you know, why not just take the whole thing? For example, they want to extract curcumin from turmeric, but just take the whole turmeric. This is how nature is presenting it to you. This has everything to help it digest properly. They call it bioavailability. When you have everything in context, it helps it go down better. Kind of like if you're at a family dinner, you know, it's not going to be the same if you just have family dinner with one person versus if you have it with all your family, the whole family dinner. It makes everything go down better. So I'll show you what I do for after a workout, so that will help you sleep. You know, now I sleep through the night. I don't wake up once. It's a dream come true. It's good stuff. So after a workout, what's going to make you feel strong? What's going to help you recover? It's going to keep your energy levels up and make your body recover properly. Maca, great for strength, endurance, and brain power. So I really love maca. Good for your libido. Good for giving you that oomph, right? So I kind of like feel like it's a Johnny Bravo type hormone. That's not hormone, herb, you know what I mean when I say Johnny Bravo, right? So then you got your ginseng. You know, this is a mix of 3 different ginsengs: Korean, red Chinese, and American ginseng. So ginseng is known for so long. I'll take 2 pills of this. It's almost 1 serving. You know, you don't need a lot of ginseng. And you don't have to be super duper specific on the dosages, guys. Usually it's like half a teaspoon for all these herbs. That's a rule of thumb. This is not medical advice, but for many of these herbs, you take half a teaspoon, that's generally the dose. But experiment on your own so that you know. Your body will need different doses at different times. Doesn't make sense that everybody would take the same amount. What if you're 250 pounds bodybuilder versus a 100-pound Pilates teacher? Not everyone's going to take the same amount. So you have to know the effect on your body and experiment. And you have to understand, not just do a cookie cutter. That doesn't make any sense, right? So you got your ginseng, you got your maca, and any one of these things will completely change how you feel. You know, we're talking about burnout too, and healing burnout. These help regulate your stress levels and your nervous system and your immunity. So it starts healing your entire system. You heal your nervous system and your hormones, everything starts to regulate. This will help you so much. And you're doing it every single day. It's like you're taking medicine every single day. Next thing I'm going to show you is a tincture that has a combination of many different adaptogens. So Shilajit is what they call the pitch of strength. So in Indian medicine, in yoga, they actually attribute this to the enormous strength of gorillas, because in the Himalayas, they actually had these strangely, supernaturally strong gorillas, and they were living up in the Himalayas. And so they would watch them, and they'd eat this resin that came from the plants and the volcanic ashes, and it had minerals. And these gorillas, these apes, they would eat this pitch, and they started experimenting with eating the pitch too. And they found that all the minerals that were crystallized and concentrated in this pitch gives tremendous vitality. And so all the plants that grew on it were flourishing. All the animals that were eating it were looking very, very strong. And so they thought, we should eat it. They went and they ate it, and they got strong too. And so they realized the minerals and all the vitamins that are in this pitch is the concentration of many, many, many years of the breakdown of plant species into the minerals that naturally come from the mountains, you know, the rivers, the volcanoes. And so Shilajit is a legendary, it's also an adaptogen. It actually boosts testosterone, just like ashwagandha, just like ginseng. Maca probably doesn't boost testosterone, but this maca is definitely known for giving you vigor and giving you libido. Same with ashwagandha and ginseng. This is testosterone. This is multi-mineral. This is energy. This is sleep. This is immunity. All of these are all of those things. But this, you know, this is like 12 bucks on Amazon, lasts me like a month. And it has everything. Vitamin C, E, B6, B12, zinc, chromium, shilajit, ginseng, wolfberry, amla, turmeric, ashwagandha, rhodiola, sea moss, astragalus. All right, so the most powerful in there are ashwagandha, rhodiola, sea moss, ginseng, and shilajit. Okay, so rhodiola is also a very well studied and proven. All of these are on like the S tier, very well proven, very well studied. Maca, a little bit less research studies, but very well documented. Take a dropper of that. Sweet. I love it. It's such a nice hobby. This is this is a tea ceremony for me. Every single time I take the tea, you know, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that these teas exist, that these herbs exist, because this is like the medicine. Imagine needing medicine, but you don't have the medicine. Well, this is the medicine, and it exists, and nature gives it to you, and it helps you be strong. And so these are the real superfoods that not many people talk about, but these are in the ancient texts. These are in the ancient Indian medicine tomes that have been around for thousands of years, and they've endured on because they work. So if you have the powder version, put it in some hot water. Put some cinnamon for a little bit of fun. You know, you can put some ginger. I put some guduchi in here for strengthening my digestion. Guduchi is great for immunity too. I'll show you guduchi. You having GI issues? You need the nectar of immortality, guduchi. It's a brown powder. It's kind of like cinnamon. It gives it like a very earthy, wood-like taste. It's not intense and it's not astringent. It's not bitter. It's actually really amazing. And I'll show you one more bonus. So, don't underestimate any of these. You can study any of these for a week and you'll be blown away by all the research, all the benefit. These are the closest things that you're gonna have to like steroids and biohacking. So this has been in Chinese medicine for thousands of years. Pine pollen powder. This actually has testosterone in it. You heard me right. It literally has testosterone in it. It has phytoandrogens. This is the plant version of testosterone. So it literally has huge amounts of phytoandrogens, more than almost anything we've ever studied. And so this increases energy because testosterone goes through the roof. And it also has so many minerals, so many vitamins in it. So this is nourishing you beyond just, you're literally eating testosterone from the plants. You're eating the plant form of testosterone. And you're nourishing yourself with minerals, which are very deficient nowadays. The soil is bad. And you're getting your vitamins. So this boosts your libido even more than maca. This is like Viagra. Take my word for it. You take half a tablespoon. This is Viagra, my friends. This is vitality. This is vigor. This is the true Johnny Bravo herb. You want to have testosterone? You want to have libido? You want to have energy? Pine pollen powder, ashwagandha, ginseng, maca, shilajit. All these guys are gonna boost you through the roof. Telling you. And they're good for you. They nourish your entire body. They're adaptogens. Pine pollen is not an adaptogen. It's the only one, but it boosts testosterone. All the rest that I showed you today are adaptogens. So this is what I like. You could do this before a workout. You could do this after a workout. A lot of the times I experiment. I actually really like taking it before, and then after, you can relax down with more of the holy basil, some of the things that I showed you for sleep. So, it's always good to go into a rest and digest mode after a workout. So you could take that sleep tonic right after a workout, take a little nap, or just go into a nice chill day. I have a lot that I want to get done today, so I'm boosting up right now. You see, it's nice and smooth. I mixed in cinnamon, guduchi, and pine pollen powder. And it's just smooth. It's an interesting little taste. It kind of tastes like bee pollen. It's nice. You feel like this little boost in your whole body. It's kind of like very clean energy. So I'll drink a lot of water. Hour later, I'll have lunch, and then the rest of the day today, we're gonna be upgrading the camera. So we're gonna have better video, better audio, and we're getting a lot of good stuff coming your way. So just wanted to show you guys that, because you need every single little tool that you can have when you're dealing with stress, burnout, weight gain, energy issues, digestive issues, immunity, and maybe you're getting sick a lot, maybe you're having sleep issues. So use all of these things, and I'm gonna keep on talking about all these different herbs and how you can use them for so many different things in your life to boost your own energy, so that you can actually feel like you have the weapons and the tools that you need to detox, to fight those supervillains that are in your system. See, these are like superheroes that go into your body. They clean everything out. So we're going to be talking more about probiotics after you detox, how to boost your hormones with these different herbs, how to help your digestion with these herbs, like what to cook with. There's a whole world of herbs, and herbs are pretty much like steroids for your life. You get the right herbs and the right knowledge, and everything just feels like it's oil for your car. You just start running at a different rate, just because you're aiding your body with the right nutrients, the right detox. You get the wrong things out of your body, and you get the right things in. Get those hormones working on full drive. It's like you get a turbo booster on your car. So, I'll make different videos. Let me know what herbs you want to learn about and for what. You want more herbs for sleep? You want more herbs for digestion? You want more herbs for stress? You want more herbs for building muscle? You want more herbs for libido? You want more herbs for clearing your skin and beauty and aesthetics? Let me know, because I've been studying herbs for over 10 years now. It's one of the beautiful things about Chinese medicine and Indian medicine, and I've been in love with this. So there's herbs for really anything, and I actually teach a lot about herbs in my 7-day free cleanse that you can get below. So I always start everybody out on a cleanse. It's the easiest thing that you can do for your hormones, your nervous system, your organ health, is just do a simple cleanse. I just show you the different herbs that you eat to start cleaning out your system completely. There's herbs and there's oils. All you gotta do is know what herbs and oils to eat, and it's as easy as that. You just take them and you'll see disgusting stuff coming out of your system. People pooping out after 7 days, just nasty stuff. And that just means you're clearing out all this gunk from your organs, from your arteries, from your stomach, from your small and large intestine. It's just all getting cleansed out, and then your body works better. It's kind of like taking all the rust out of a machine. It's kind of like breaking down a wall that's preventing people from getting onto a train. That's what your nutrients are trying to do. They're trying to get into your blood and transfer to your body, but there's a wall of toxic sludge blocking them. So you gotta break it down Some people are holding 5 to 20 pounds of toxic sludge in their body just from all the toxins accumulating and just from having bad digestion. Food is just sitting there. People are constipated. It concretizes, it hardens, it ferments. People are eating too much meat. Bacteria cements it. It's hard. You'll see. You do some of these cleanses. You do purgation with castor oil after you detox. It's on day 7 of the detox. You're gonna see, boom, nasty stuff will come out and you're gonna feel elevated. You get mental health benefits, spiritual benefits, insights, inspiration. You have more fun in life. It's like you de-age like 5 years when you cleanse your system, because that's really what's happening as you go through life. Your cells are breaking down and you're just becoming a less efficient machine. So you gotta take it to the mechanic and clean it up, and then everything starts working better. Okay, so that's the first step, is get on that detox program, the 7-day cleanse. After that, it'll tell you what to do. You can do a little bit of fasting, and then you can do a full cleanse if you want. But there's step by step. You take this one step at a time. You start changing your life. You start learning a little bit at a time. Believe me, there's so much fun stuff to learn, and you're gonna feel like a blessed person just from learning this stuff. So get that below and enjoy the teas. Let me know what tea you like the best and what herbs you want to know about and for what reason. Cheers. Love you guys. I will see you in the next episode. Let me know how I can serve. And if this has helped you, like and subscribe so that we can spread this message, so that we could heal each other, heal ourselves, and spread this healing message into the world, because we are the healing Jedis. This is our time. This is our movement. It's not time for burnout. No more of that. It's time for healing. And it's time for change. And we are the change. Amen. I'll see you in the next video.